Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome to the new and improved Podocasts. Through the highs and the lows for 4 years running, the Podocasts have been here for you, bringing the victories and the defeats, the joys and the sorrows, and we're just getting started. I'm your show producer, Bella, the coordinator of the chaos, and if you want to talk to Scott, you got to get through me, so be nice. Here at the podcast, we do it a bit different. We're all about the investment element of crypto, no hype, but rational and objective context of what we're buying and what we're selling, and we strive to be entertaining and informative while we do it. So strap in, fill your glass, and without any further ado, I give you the podcaster himself, the one and only Great Scott. Dazzle me, boy. And Scott, I'm getting reports that you are muted.
I was muted. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, suck it. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you. I was making videos today, and I had to mute my mic. So, yeah, oops. I'm sorry, man. Worse things can happen. I remember when I did that with Eli. You remember that, Bell, way back in the day? You remember that interview like 4 years ago? You remember that shit?
Yeah.
And I started out that one muted, man, and I got the biggest ration of shit for that. This is what happens.
I still get the blame for that one.
Well, I mean, it kind of was. The light wasn't on. What am I supposed to do? The light's not on. You understand how this works? But no, I mean, it's on me. I could be a pro. I can get through this. But this is the this is the bottom end of higher production. When you have a higher production type of show, things can go wrong, like you didn't notice the light was off on your microphone. We went so far as to I actually got a limiter. We want to, if we ever actually get sponsored and people are paying us for our time, then we're gonna just go whole hog, and that includes the phone lines are going to be open the entire time. But for me to do that successfully on YouTube until Flix enables live streaming, I have to be able to mute call-in people, meaning that I have to be able to mute it before it actually goes out. So right now we're on a 30-second delay, but I still can't stop it. Once it's said, I can't stop it, but I can now. And $15,000 later, that's what it costs, by the way, I can hit the little button and mute out any segment that I want before it goes live. So when we happen to be getting these call-in guests, if they are screaming just silliness or racist shit or anything like that, I just mute them. Just hit the little button. But when you see me doing that, that means he's getting out of hand. We want to give you a good show. I mean, we're going whole hog here, man. We have so much wrapped into this. But it's fun. You know, it's fun. It's a fun hobby for us. We enjoy doing it. Clearly, we've never really broke out, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because, again, we get a lot of satisfaction from doing the show, hooking up our family, giving them money, all that other good stuff. So it kind of works out for us. And yes, I am dressed nice. We have a guest tonight. We have Carter. Carter, are you here? Are you here? Are you sitting up here? Okay, yes, you ready? Sir. Are you ready to do some good talking? I got some hard questions for you tonight, man. Are you going to be okay with that?
Let's do it. We'll give some hard answers.
Okay. Well, let me finish my little 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes, talk it out, and let me go. So crypto Twitter, man, is just hysterical. And the reason that I mentioned it and how long I've been investing is because you hit these cycles like this. And everybody was just orgasmic over the last couple of weeks. Everything up, no bad decisions, everybody making money, just bam, bam, bam. And then Bitcoin corrects. That's a Bitcoin correction. Now, this is crypto, guys. This is what happens here, all right? We get corrections. And like it or not, invested in it or not, if you own cryptocurrency, you are married to Bitcoin. It sucks, but it is what it is. And the people who are going to be pouring into Bitcoin, they don't really care about altcoins. They don't care about anything. They care about small percentages. So when they see the market tailing down, they're going to be piling in short after short after short because they're going to sit there and do it. How do I know? Because I do it. Because I did it. I make more money on down days than I do on up days. It is what it is. I know it sucks. We wish it was a different way, but it's not. So until the tech really starts to catch up, meaning that the tech starts to give value to some of these tokens, and Shade happens to be one of those. I don't know, Carter's not announcing it or anything like that, but Shade happens to be one of those that they are breaking out of the mold and actually giving you a usable product. It's pretty cool. It won't be in the U.S., but it will be in the rest of the world, and the rest of the world's a pretty big place. So anyway, guys, be calm. All right, it was a down day, and if you understand how to manipulate all this stuff, you still made money today. I know I did, so it's possible. And if you don't know how, man, look, the podcast. We will literally show you step by step. This is what I'm doing. None of it is financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. So anyway, Carter. Let's just get you on here, man. I'm going to start hammering you right now. Your DEX was effectively unusable this morning. You are aware of that, right? That your DEX was effectively unusable?
Yes, a horrible customer experience for precisely 7 hours and 14 minutes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and elaborate on that? Look at the camera. Pretend that you care.
Yes.
Look at the camera, dude, and tell everybody
why
like they could...
The bags under my eyes.
I do. Man.
From the team.
So tell everybody why they couldn't realize profits on Shade.
Yeah. So today, what happened is for the first time ever, we had like the world's first private IDO. Someone was essentially listing their token on ShadeSwap as the first trading venue, not a centralized exchange, not osmosis. They actually chose to go with ShadeSwap, and that team was Andromeda Protocol. They've been building for 2 years. They're one of the Terra teams that started to build right as things collapsed in that ecosystem. Some really resilient builders on their end. And about 2.5 weeks ago, we announced Andromeda was going to be listing for the first time on December 28th. There was good buzz, but like as a whole, like it's like holiday season. We didn't like fully know like what to expect with Andromeda because it's a new product. It has no price. We have no idea, right? And our node cluster to date consists of 9 nodes, which has perfectly and elegantly handled traffic up until today. Because today we saw a 15x in users on the website and requests a node. So we got absolutely hammered. Node goes down, app becomes essentially unusable. There's a couple transactions bleeding in here and there. So we hop on a call with Lavender 5, with Secret Labs, with Consensus 1, as well as Alex Saturn. So like 3 or 4 node providers, we all hopped on a call. We rebooted our nodes and resynced it with Lavender and had our nodes only focusing on the back end instead of the front end. And then they spun up an extra 20 nodes to handle the front end load. So we went from 9 nodes to around 27 nodes. And then Austin, our developer, also sprinted to make sure that the queries from the front end started to be batched instead of individual queries. Long and short, it's just way more efficient for the nodes. So in 7 hours, we went from unusable app to now tentatively, fingers crossed, reasonably good experience. The price of Andromeda listed at 0.065 cents and is now trading at 65 cents, I believe. So their team is ecstatic despite the shitty customer experience. Like token price went up and some bad first encounters with users, but we're hoping to, when they come back to the site today, that we can, provide a better experience than now we've learned.
Let's get a timeline together here. So I'm going to say that you got your nodes, made this thing start to work approximately noon. Does that more or less jive? Is that about right?
It was probably closer to 1, but yes, the because we had nodes have to resync and catch up and stuff. So yes, it was around noon to like 2 p.m. is when we really started getting back in the game.
Yeah, so around noon or 2 p.m., there was a big dump off of Shade. Now, you've been in the crypto biz for a while too, dude, and you understand that a pump that much is going to have people pulling the ripcord, man. Now, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. All right, I wasn't the one who dumped on you, man, because I have a longer vision on Shade actually. But if I had one complaint about the entire crypto world, it's these guys right here. It's these animals who don't understand what iceberging is. They simply have no concept of inching your way out of a position and stopping a pump completely in its tracks. Now, this is a plague on crypto. And if there's anything that I would like to get out of this channel for anybody who watches, you don't have to go all the way right away. You can inch your way out, all right? You DCA'd your way in, you can DCA your way out and not shock the price. See, now what you guys did here with all of these big, wild, just immediate big hammering sells, and I'm sure Carter was looking at them. Were you looking at them? Were you looking at the transactions?
Honestly, I didn't. I probably checked CoinGecko 5 times a day, once every couple hours, but it was mostly to confirm pricing on the front end was matching the back end. So it was sad to see it. It was sad to see it drop, but I was like, honestly, that's perfectly expected considering the situation.
It is, and it's crypto, and it's the only thing that was up on a down day, dude. So this thing was doomed. All right, this pump right here was doomed. But let me ask you this. Was the pump, the fact that this thing was effectively unusable, did it help jack the price? Because Shade exists on more than one location. Where all does Shade exist?
So right now it exists on Kajira as well as Osmosis, but there's barely any liquidity on Osmosis because we're waiting to close like a liquidity deal with them. We don't want to just chuck incentives. We want to try to find something mutually beneficial like we did on Kajira. So yeah, the Manta Shade Pool had a lot of volume rolling, and also the IBC relayer channels were getting absolutely pounded by arbors that realized the absolute mayhem that was going on.
And it happens. It happens every single time. Now, let me ask you this, man, for your future customers and people are going to be coming on board with you, dude. Do you have a handle on this now? Can you handle that 15x traffic? Or when we need you the most, are you going to be down again? And I know it seems like a really, really aggressive question, man, but it's not. We're talking about people's money. And when you get opportunities in situations like this, what you need is your Dex to perform. So did you fix it?
Yeah, a fun story on this one. We have a pretty big injective rune whale that's a big fan of Shade, and 2 days ago he said, is Shade actually ready for the bull run? And I listed off 4 things. He was essentially like, is your app actually going to be able to handle 15x users? And I was like, well, like customer support would probably struggle, so maybe was my answer. And he's like, so your answer is no. I was like,
exactly. Exactly.
Right. So this guy's calling it like it is. And me being like a little prideful, I'm like, no, it's gonna be fine. And like the 2 days go by, 2 days happen. I'm like, well, man, these guys got some wisdom. I know we were not ready today, but tomorrow is a new day, and we have the data and lessons from today. And this was a peer behind the veil of what we should be capable of handling. We should be able to handle 15,000 users in a very condensed time frame. We should be able to handle that. And now we know what it takes, which is 3 to 5x the nodes, and how our front end talked to the nodes was very inefficient. So Austin pushing those batch queries is honestly more important than the node count. So I think we're much more ready than the cocky and overconfident team that we were 2 days ago as it pertained to being ready.
You got pecker slapped, man. As soon as it happened, the first thing I did was go over to Shade. Dude, I couldn't even create a viewing key. I could do nothing. No. I could not even create a viewing key, and I already have them. But I was picking tokens that I don't have anything on Shade, and I was like, create a viewing key. Nope. Just Kepler's in there.
Because Kepler bricked too. That was the other thing too. So we had our own infrastructure, but Kepler uses an API called Secret Express. And so as our API bricked, we temporarily pointed to that API, since it's a public API, which immediately bricked that API. So then Kepler effectively was completely unusable for anyone anywhere on Secret Network until around 2 p.m.
So you can almost be proud of that, man. And look, I mean, we can all see it. Look, here's 2 p.m. This is when shit started to work again. And obviously, we had a little bit more bleed off. People are going to realize profits. But the fact that the token's still sitting at $6.40, long-term holders should not be very, very concerned. Now, because we are an investment channel, and I like to think that we're a smart investment channel, I would hope that the people who bought at $1.80 Shade at least realize some profits. Carter's not even going to blame you on that one, man. Look, you got to keep dry powder for days. You got to keep dry powder for days like this, for when this happens, so that if you are dead set on sticking in Shade and Shade only, that's it. I'm a maxi. I want all this. You have got to realize you've got to realize when the asset is overvalued. And at $8 and something cents, I think even Carter is going to admit at this point in time that asset was overvalued. It was a pure FOMO run, greater fool theory. Everything came into place, and realize some profits, because anything that you sold, that you dropped, that smartly, realize the couple of percentage points that you bought it, that you laid it off right around here, if you could. I was selling on osmosis, not much, because the Osmo price was so jacked. Why is that so jacked, by the way, Carter? Let's take a look here, man. We're over on osmosis now. I don't know if you got the stream up, but if you do, you're going to see it here in a couple seconds. So let's pretend that I wanted to, let me see. Let's pretend that I wanted to sell some Shade right there, and I wanted to turn that into USDC, and let's see if the price jakes now. Okay, so they actually got this together. Now, I personally put a tweet out there because I was selling it at $12.80 over on Osmosis. I was the tweets are up, man. I was selling
Why were people buying on Osmosis? Oh, this is why we got to get liquidity there.
You guys have got, if you're serious about sticking around on Osmosis. Now, personally, this is my opinion. I would have more support. I would personally support your DEX a lot more if you weren't on Osmosis. I don't want you tied up with, I don't want to get in bed with that token. It's great now that it's all going up. Would you say that, how about this? I'm going to put you right on the spot here, dude, because we're coming up to break. Do you think the Osmosis tokenomics are solid? Now, look at the camera and answer this. Dude, it doesn't matter. You're on record now. Are they solid? Is it something that you want to actively invest in?
I think DEXs are the osmosis model is like a Walmart model where you just need an insane amount of volume and throughput. So it's kind of playing with fire, right? We saw what happens in a bear market when those volumes start to disappear. If you don't own your own liquidity, and if you don't have other verticals like lending products that you own 100% of the value accrual. So I think in a bull, osmosis is going to look brilliant, but holistically, I still think it has a long ways to go.
Well, dude, in a bull, everything goes up. Everything is wonderful. Look at the shit that's been pumping over here. All right, I'm not a fan of Mars, but look at that thing going. I made a bunch of money on that. I'm not a fan of a lot of these products, man, but when you get to the bull market, man, we're all brilliant. All right, we are all brilliant. Everything works. Everything is wonderful. I don't want to invest in bull market products. I want to invest in bear market products, because that's where you change your tax bracket, is in the bear market products. I'm still not 100% sold on Silk. We can talk about it. But I'm starting to come around to Shade a lot more, because you got some smart products on there. And I will disclose, I have a lot more money over on Astrovault. I don't really consider you guys personal competition. You have different offerings, man. That's what I'm looking for, is diversity. So I'm kind of cool with that. All right. So anyway, Belle, do we still have a producer?
Yeah, you still have a producer. You haven't fired yet.
Okay, let's give away $150 worth of Carter's money in Shade to however you want to do it. Go ahead and do it, Belle, and then we have to talk about our latest sponsor. So go ahead and get it going.
Okay, well, guys, this was talked about on Discord yesterday, so if you missed it, you really need to jump on the Discord. But I've got multiple job titles. What was the one we talked about yesterday evening? What department am I?
All right. First person to type that in chat gets $150 worth of Shade. But, Podocasters, let me tell you, we are an unsponsored channel. All of this is on our dime, so we have to comb the dregs to find people who will pay us to read their stuff. And let me tell you about our latest
And we've
offering.
already got our winner, by the way.
All right, let me do my read. All right, Jesus, this is the one fun thing I get to do, and you just bricked me, Bell. Thank you. Podcasters, some of you might find this handy, considering the gifts that were given this year, and you know what? You are welcome. Now, this is for the dads. This is for the dads. Did the holiday fun take an unexpected turn? Do you need to keep a little secret from the mom? Did you insist the kid is old enough for a BB gun, but he has now shot his eye out? Is the mom going to be pissed and just lord this over you for the rest of the marriage? You bet she will. But what she doesn't know can't haunt you forever. So allow us to present to you the You Shot Your Eye Out Home Remedy Kit. Healing is great, and it has eye drops and, all of that, bandages, all that crap. But hiding it is even more important, which is why every kit includes colorful eye patches, full face masks, and ninja vanish powder if mom starts looking too closely. Look, guys, kids heal, all right? They're like Deadpool, and they heal fast. But it only takes a glance from mom. Mom can put two and two together, so timeliness matters. Also included is the kit. In the kit is a very large bottle of wine and one coupon for a girls' weekend out, so you can deal with this. What she doesn't know won't hurt you forever. So when you need time, keep the You Shot Your Eye Out Home Remedy Kit handy, and you have all the time you need. Guys, this is important, all right? Order today. Operators are standing by, and we will be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you. All right, Belle, who is our winner? Who gets the money?
Old man gets Carter his money tonight. He actually chimed in first with the correct answer of HR.
So now he's going to be involved. Old man's going to be involved in Shade. He's going to be hanging around Shade Protocol, and I got a special sound effect for you, old man, right here.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Because when you start getting over into this, dude, all right, you are getting into, you're going to the Outland here, all right? Let me show you Shade, all right? This is what I mean, all right? You come over to here, dude, and you're starting to up your crypto business because Shade, for what it's worth, aside from the fact that I'm not totally sold on Silk, and Carter and I can argue this forever and bore everybody right off the channel, but aside from that, there are some very, very neat offerings over here. And you, old man, now have a chance on Carter's dime to kind of get involved in some of these. I'm going to take just a minute. Carter, please stand by. We'll get back to all the discussion and stuff like that, but we're looking at Shade now, so give me a break. They have some very, very smart offerings over here. Now, I have a lot more money sitting on Astrovault right now with no token. Man, this stuff is just sitting here sound asleep right now as opposed to over on Shade, but they're different offerings for different things, different reasons, different everything. I mean, it's literally why I don't really consider even though they're in the same business, Shade and Astrovault, I don't really consider them competitors. They offer wildly different products. But Shade has some very interesting offerings. Now, right now, if you were in the Shade Silk Shade pool, you're up. I don't know what other way to say it, but you're up. You had a really, really good time over here, particularly at 92% APR. Now, I'm bringing Carter right up here to explain that 92% APR. Carter, I'm not a fan of just flat out Dex tokens. All right, I'm not a huge fan, but you're offering 92% on that pool, man. You have got to explain the why.
Yeah, so essentially there's a fixed number of tokens emitted at the pool, and then the market ultimately decides where the APR settles. So really that 92% APR represents the fact that there's a lot of risk in that pool. There's a lot of potential impermanence loss, because when Shade can go 130% in 30 days and you're an LP provider, you just left a lot of money on the table compared to if you had just been staking Shade. So that high APR represents folks taking a bet on essentially the ideal world for an LP provider is like no volatility with infinite volume and farming rewards, right? Like that would be like your ideal, the ideal world. The reason we so heavily incentivize the Silk Shade pool though is because it's absolutely key to empower people to actually acquire the Shade token and to create a good liquidity profile. There's 1.74 million in Silk USDC liquidity, and that's a stable swap. And then you have the Silk Shade pool, which has roughly $1 million in liquidity. So you can come in and make like a $5,000 purchase of Shade with a reasonable amount of slippage. If that pool was significantly less incentivized, that acquisition becomes worse and worse and worse, and then you're turning off investors that are only going to interact with certain levels of liquidity profiles. So it's an expense for the protocol. That pool actually is one of the more like closer to profitable pools because of the volume on any given day, but it's definitely an expense. And yeah, it's just kind of the cost of business. Liquidity providers cost money.
Yeah, and I get that, man. My question to you is how long can you continue to support it? And I know you know what I'm asking. What's your runway on this, dude?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we don't talk about very often is we actually have over $1 million in protocol and liquidity. So if you look at the Shade Stake Secret pool, that's $600,000. That's actually owned by the protocol.
Wait a minute, which pool? Which pool?
The Shade Stake Secret pool.
Okay.
See, that's 100% protocol owned liquidity. The Shade Manta pool was also a liquidity deal that was made. That $500,000 pool, that's owned by Shade Protocol. And now we're rolling out more and more of these business deals. If you look at the Shade Andromeda pool, that has around $350,000 in liquidity today, which by the way started being worth $100,000 and within just today is now worth $350,000. That's a shared liquidity deal between protocols. So from our perspective, we want to have all of our pools be 0% APR and be 100% like protocol liquidity deals between protocols. In the ideal world, you have zero emissions. The places you're not going to be able to do that very quickly is anything that involves a stablecoin, right? So it's a race against time. The true profitability comes from owning the liquidity, as well as having leverage products and lending and borrowing products on top of the product suite that actually generate the profitability.
See now, and I'm cutting you off a little bit, man. This is the podcast. I can do that. Where there is zero incentive for anybody else to get into Shade Manta. You agree with that, right? Because you're offering 0% APR on that pool. So that pool simply exists to be traded. Oh, no. And I understand. Yep. No, I get it, man. But the trading fees on this are not really going to blow it out. So as much I appreciate it, but your average, and this is what you and I have talked about offline, man. Look, there is next level, there's white hat, and then there's, oh my God, I know what the hell I'm doing here. And there's that. But who are you trying to appeal to on this DEX? Are you trying to appeal to the general populace? The 90% of the people who simply do not care. They're going to look at that APR number right there. That's all that they're going to look at. That's the very first thing that they're going to be doing. So who are you trying to appeal to with this pool? Now, I've been doing this right here with the microphone, talking crypto and doing all this stuff for years and years. And I'm telling you, my audience is going to look at that and say, there's no APR. I'm not getting in it. So as much as I appreciate protocol-owned liquidity, I think it's incredibly important for vertical scaling. If you have no pull, there is no point, all right? Because you're going to have to go hat in hand anytime you need to build out something else, every single time. So I'm a huge fan of protocol-owned liquidity. That's why I'm a big fan of the way that Astrovault's doing it. But I want you to tell me, aside from that, who are you trying to appeal to? I'm trying to help you, dude. All right, if you tell me what market you're looking for, I can message that direction, because you do have some very, very, very smart offerings over here. This is the best damn pool that you're ever going to see, is sitting right over here, Silk Wrap Bitcoin. I'm not 100% sold on Silk. I'm just not. But half of that pool right there is my money. Just that little bit right there, because I'm collecting 49.5% of getting shade for it for Bitcoin. Now, the issue I have with that is Silk, because, again, I'm not 100% sold on it. If it was USDC, I would have $1 million sitting in that pool right this very second. I would be farming your DEX flat. But again, I happen to agree with a couple of things you're doing, so I could really use the extra shade if you want to give it to me, because I'm going to be sitting right there in Shade Silk, dude. I mean, come on, man. 92% on Shade Silk sitting right there, dude. If you want to give me more money to dump into that thing, I'm happy to take it. So if you'd like to talk offline, dude, I'm there for that. But who are you looking for? What is this DEX for? All right, what is the thing? We've had this conversation, and I understand secrecy, privacy, all that stuff. I'm a huge fan. I'm a libertarian, dude. I'm incredibly political. So, yes, all of this means a lot to me, but it doesn't mean a lot to 90% of the crypto world. I consider privacy and I consider the privacy element of this DEX the cherry on top, but I don't consider it the product. This right here, that little wrap Bitcoin pool, that's the product. This up here, Silk Shade, that's the product. If you happen to have security, that's great. That's wonderful. If you happen to have privacy, that's great. That's wonderful. But 90% of the world is not going to be, doesn't care. So do you want to stay troglodyte, or do you want to go mainstream? Tell me who you're looking for here, dude. You got the full screen all the time you want, dude. Answer that question. I told you I was going to be tough tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love the way you tee off that question, because it's such a loaded question and such a good question. But then you also front ran me a little bit by saying, but we can't say privacy is the target user, which is fair. In my opinion, the vision of Shade will be realized when on that left side bar there is a cards tab, a money market tab, and Shade Swap as we have it today. Right now the vision is incomplete. As just a DEX, is Shade unique? Sure, 100% front running resistant, private balances, and it's like the private transactions, right? Like that's a great product, but it's not an excellent product. It's not a product that's gonna turn people's eyes and say, why would I do my DeFi anywhere else? Like why would I jump through all these ladders just to get to just another DEX, right?
It is not, man.
Right. The real magic of Shade Protocol is when you have money markets where you can privately lend and leverage your crypto and be one click away from a stable coin, and one click away from a DEX, and one click away from a card. All of that with interesting yield opportunities for people to be able to financially express, the normies that want to not mess with liquidity providing, just want to lend out their crypto, or the people that want to lock stuff up and do crazy yield farming, staking, all that crazy stuff. We'll give you that playground. But what's important is that Silk and these cards can actually be used in our everyday life. So much of crypto is stuck in a corner, just a little people just moving money from A to B. It's not actually being used in commerce. It's not actually useful in our everyday lives. And so for me, yeah, you're right, Scott. The Shade right now, it's not necessarily impressive, but we're 2 years in, and I'm convinced that this year, 2024, is when people will come to app.shadeprotocol.io and be like, holy crap. It's not osmosis where there's the Levana token and the Mars token and the this and the this, and there's this fractured incentives.
I don't care about
website.
that shit,
No.
dude. You know how I know I don't care about it? You know how I know I don't care about that? Because I don't got any money in there, dude. All right? These things are ticking time bombs. You know it. I know it. We all, you know what? The bigger money is aware of this. All right, they're time bombs. LSDs are all these things, man. Look, I know. Look, your DEX is mostly loaded with LSDs over here, and I've called you on it more than once. But all of these Q atoms and by the way, this is an incredibly volatile pool. I am surprised that I'm looking at Shade Tia right now, dude. You'll see it in about 30 seconds. 78%. For Shade Tia. But you want to talk about a wild ride. I mean, an incredibly wild ride. That pool right there at 78%. 78%, man. That is nuts. And the fact that you only got $82,000, it exists for people to move liquidity, and you can't trade on that. There's only $82,000, man. The price impact is going to be massive. You know what? Should we simulate it? You want me to simulate a trade, or do you think enough people get it that I don't have to? I think enough people get it, man. But
Yeah.
that is a served up. Now, you guys used to have something really, really cool up here, dude, and I'm going to show it right now. We're pulling up the third screen. I have to create a viewing key. This is a newer pool, and I'm not in it. So let me create a viewing key real quick, and then we can see.
And we cross our fingers that Kepler works.
Dude, it didn't this morning. All right, it did anyway. Okay, there we go. So this is kind of neat, but it's not popping up, dude. The APR. Some of these let me pop it up, and I can see who's pouring where. Who is fully incentivizing this pool? Is it you, or is Tia throwing some in?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, a lot of those, we have a very specific volume strategy where the pool is actually profitable because there's so much trading happening elsewhere and there's so much demand for TIA that actually the fees that we're collecting as a protocol is outpacing the emissions to that pool. So that's why to your point, that pool is only good for like a baby retail person that's like, I'll buy $500.
Yeah, $100. Yeah, let's throw it in.
But the $5,000 whale, absolutely not. You would not use that pool. But the arbitrage from it, there's actually so much demand that it's actually going great. Counter example to that though is actually the Pika pool has done insanely well. We are in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in trading fees from that pool. That thing has been killing it. And they brought emissions to that pool with us as well. So
well, you know, we're going to simulate that particular trade because obviously I know what's going on. You know what's going on. Let's go ahead and show everybody else what's going on. So if we wanted to swap $5,000 of USDC for TIA, we'd get 4,156, man. All right. It's not a larger volume trader type of pool. I happen to be a larger volume. That's my average buy. My average buy, average sell is 5 to 10,000. So no, I couldn't do action on this one. Not at all. You need to 10x that pool to actually get that stuff in there. So, but it brings me back around to my other question, man. Look, what market are you targeting? Who are you going after? There's more than enough liquidity. There's more than enough Cosmos people. I am personally tired of Shade being left out of the conversation because you do have a lot of very, very smart pools over here. And I'm getting sick of the crypto Twitter bullshit that all it is Osmo and Kuji. That's it. It's like nothing else exists. I still consider the privacy the cherry on top. I use Secret, dude. You know, we've been around a long, long time. I use Secret. I hide my big money. It goes through Secret. I don't want people knowing. But I'm not your average investor, all right? Your average investor is a $100,000, $500,000 guy. So if you are going to be going after these people, dude, how are you going to do it? If this is your interest. If not, you know what? You got a great DEX. You're making a living on it, and that's wonderful. But this thing needs to scale. So how are you going to scale it? Because you need a hell of a lot more liquidity over here.
Yeah, I ultimately think one of the most like kind of unfortunate framings of Shade Protocol is that the DEX has become the most popular piece of the puzzle. So when people think of Shade Protocol, they think of Shade Swap right now. The reason we went and built Shade Swap is because all the other DEXs on Secret Network were terrible, just to be blunt. So Shade Swap was built out of necessity. And so really Silk is the flagship interesting product, and the money markets where people can privately lend and borrow crypto without the whole world knowing that you're lending out $200,000 worth of Bitcoin and that your liquidation price point is $40,000 Bitcoin. That we really think that user story combined with the cards are Shade Protocol in its most killer form. And so Shade Swap really exists to service those use cases. And the more traction those type of leverage products and real world utilities have, the more volume that's going to come to Shade Swap, and that liquidity base will grow out with that. So in my opinion, the target audience, we can't service them yet because the complete vision of the product actually isn't here yet, which is crazy that it takes 2.5 years to build all the pieces to finally service the people that we think.
You're making me nuts. You're making me nuts here, dude. All right. Anyway, yes, we're going to, you know what? The whole rest of the show is going to be audience questions, dude. So me and you are done talking. But Belle, are you still with us, Belle?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Is this the best show you've ever done? Because you've said like 3 things. Is this the best one? Usually you got to carry it.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, we got to get Carter back on here more often. All right, Belle, give away some money. Serve it up, bud, and then we're going to talk about our latest offering.
Oh. All right. Carter, why don't you ask a question for the audience about silk? That should be an easy one for our regular viewers to get. So definitely
It's your money, Carter. Go ahead and give it away.
For the giveaway.
Yeah,
Okay.
go.
Let's see. Let's name the top 3 largest weights within the silk basket.
I know it right now, dude.
Ooh,
I know it right now. Can I have the money?
Good
Is that
one.
cool? All right. Well, you guys consider that. This one is tough to get through, Belle. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a champ here. All right. 25 years behind the microphone. I can be a professional. I know a lot of you guys don't know me, but if you do, pro, I'm ready to go here. Ladies and gentlemen of the podcast, have we got a treat for you? Looky here. All right, look at my eyes here. All right, guys, action figures are fun. They are highly collectible. They're fun for you. They're fun for the family. But there are some major historical events that have been left out of the action figure market. And Tom says that has to change. Guys, do you know Tom? Have you ever tuned into this show? Of Tom's Doggy Dentist and Tom's rocket-powered pogo stick. Have you heard of Tom? Well, maybe you're going to hear about him now. Tom's historical action figures include the country's major historical events because if we forget, it's like it never happened. Almost like crypto. Now, for his very first offering, Tom brings you the Donner Party action figure. It's just as playable and plastic as a normal action figure, but this one comes disassembled and it likely has some bite marks on it. But hey, that's just for flavor. Just flavor. Relive the Donner Party experience with the Donner Party action figure. None of the cold, none of the fear, none of the hunger. But all of the fun. All Donner Party action figure parts are interchangeable with other figures. So if you want to build She-Male Donner, you can do it. Stop reading about history and start living it with Tom's Donner Party action figures, and let's put the can-do in the cannibalization. Order now, and we will be right back. No. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you. I hit the wrong button. Donner Party action figures, man. I don't get high as much as I used to, but every now and again. Come on, man. Like I enjoy to I like to tip my reality every now and again, and sometimes Donner Party action figures is what comes out. All right, Carter. Belle posted those up in the Zoom chat. Who won? Who won your money?
New type one. The 3 biggest basket items of silk are USD, Euro, and gold. The US dollar takes up 32% of the basket. The Euro takes up 22.5%. and gold takes up 18.7.
New type. Congratulations, dude. You won Carter's money. It's better than my money. I like it. I think the last time, what was our last giveaway, Bell? Wasn't it like $4,000 of Jackal? I mean, it was an obscene amount of Jackal. But no, it's more fun giving away Carter's money. I love this stuff. So anyway, guys, I'm all done talking here. This is the end of the stream for me, but I'm sure we got questions. Bell, do we got one or two?
Oh yeah, we've got a few. We've got
Okay.
a few questions. So
Then-
first one.
You guys take it away. I'm just going to sit here and drink.
First one coming in from Death Dealer. Love the name, by the way. Great movie series. Question for Carter. Silk is pegged to multiple currencies, which is better than being pegged to a single currency. But what would Shade do if a cascading effect from a hyperinflating dollar? What does the peg move to if the majority of the assets Silk is pegged to are unraveling?
Woo! Dangerous. UST Luna. Go ahead, Carter.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like the concept of it's essentially saying like in the event of a absolute global economic downturn where the dollar suddenly drastically and sharply drops, like how is something like Silk impacted? I mean, the first thing is that governance would move to remove something like the hyperinflating currency away from the peg, which helps dramatically because essentially Silk's correlation to that asset that's hyperinflating is just like removed completely, right? So governance would move to do that. That'd be relatively quick to do that. It's like a 2-week period, which is a lot faster than how fast the global economy typically shifts with these types of things. And then in terms of, okay, like we've removed the correlation of Silk to that hyperinflating currency, but what if the hyperinflating currency has a massive impact on the underlying collateral backing? I mean, at that point, you're trusting the liquidation mechanisms to perform their job, which something like MakerDAO with over-collateralization. The reason we have such intensive over-collateralization is to account for the volatility of the underlying collateral. I think we would be able to handle it, but there's definitely risk. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we keep coming back to we might, we could, it may, but we all live through UST Luna, dude. All right, it's going to be a fucking catastrophe. But you know what? Let's hope it doesn't happen. Bell, carry on.
All right, new type. What is Shade's cloud service provider? Some projects claim to be private and decentralized, but then rely on Amazon Web Services for their cloud. Does Shade rely on AWS?
Boy, you better answer this right, dude.
Yeah.
So we actually have done our first ever Akash deploy for the front end. We actually spun up a hackathon tied to having a distributed cloud provider, but at this point we still use like centralized services. So it's unfortunate.
All right, what do you got? And now I'm taking that one over, Bill. What do you got to do to get out of that, dude? All right, that's a problem. You understand that it's a problem. I didn't ask the question. The audience asked the question, but I feel free to pile on to this. What are your plans to getting out of this?
Yeah, it's essentially like I would say 3 to 5 month quest for the infra team to fully transition out of it. It's actually on the 2024 roadmap. It was slated for Q3, Q4. Post governance, I consider the infrastructure the most important decentralization project in terms of getting it off of.
I'm not letting you off the hook, dude. I don't care, man. You got to give me specifics here. What specifically are you going to do to guarantee our privacy, man? You understand that I work at Amazon, I work at Microsoft, I work at Facebook, I work at Google, I work at all these places. I understand what they're doing with their data. I know what they're doing with their data. Give me some specifics here, dude. You give me the right answer, I'll move $500,000 on your DEX, man. All right, but tell me what you're doing. Go.
Yeah, I think I can't give that answer because I'm not the infrastructure team. So I don't think I can give a sufficient answer in this scenario. But I'd love to pull Mohammed onto one of these podcasts to specifically talk about our privacy posture.
All right, consider him invited. Dude, this is a huge thing for me. All right. I'm all about infrastructure. So that is a massive thing for me. So please talk to your guy. I will give him all the time that he wants on this show right now. But this is where the rubber meets the road. So please, please, please tell me how you're going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm all done, guys. Belle, carry on.
Great
Monero,
question
Monero.
from the audience member, though, and I would say I would love to follow up on that. And we absolutely understand that the decentralization of our infrastructure is not adequate, and I view that as a very kind of like race against time scenario as censorship comes in from the government on privacy projects. It's like we got to get governance fully rolled out, which is being built right now by the DAO team. It's being cross-deployed to Secret Network. And then in my mind, it's like decentralized infrastructure is the next most important task. So it's a game of trade-offs, game of scarce resources. We didn't start with that. We're kind of ending with that. There's people that would say that's really dumb that you did it that way, and that's completely fair. We prioritize product over some of those censorship components, but it's absolutely key.
Dude, did I not tell you that we got the smartest audience in crypto is sitting right here, man, and they're going to pin your ass back. Go ahead, Belle. Carry on.
Yeah.
Monero Dinero, what do you think of Nomic Bitcoin, and what do you think it will do to DeFi on Cosmos?
I just don't. Okay, so like generally speaking, whenever there's like a new bridge that pops up, even if I like it, like something like Composable, which is like great, theoretical, and they're moving quick, right? Something like Nomic, in my opinion, it's like you gotta be out in the market, and I need to see enough people bridging and trusting their assets to it before I kind of trust it. So I kind of trust the consensus of the market when it comes to security and kind of legitimacy of a bridge, because time proves what's actually secure. So Nomic right now, very nervous about it, which there would be a lot of like Nomic bridge maxis that would get really angry about that, but I just don't feel like it's been live long enough and hasn't seen enough stress testing. But 2 years from now, if Nomic has kind of been unhacked and there's tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on it, I think it has huge potential to directly bring Bitcoin liquidity to Cosmos. And I say directly in quotations because it's still a bridge at the end of the day. So,
and that's a big thing, dude. You know how much Gnome I own? Zero. None. I'm 100% on your side on this, dude. We got to prove things out, man. And it's not a brag, man, but look, I move a lot of volume, and when I do, I need to make sure that this shit is safe and secure and all that other stuff. It's why I use Shade, as far as all that. The issue I have is that they're not quite there yet. And Carter, I'm not pinning you down on this, dude. All right, we've had these conversations offline.
Well, Scott, I feel like I give very honest and truthful answers about our shortcomings, because there's many shortcomings, and anyone that frames a project without shortcomings as a dishonest builder. So I'm always going to try to be the best I can on that.
And you've been 100% upfront, dude. I've always actually admired that. I've literally got to the point where I almost want to push the button when you're talking. It's like, no, don't put that out, Scott. But you know what? They're good. Anyway, okay, go ahead, Belle. Carry on.
All right. Armando Delgado, a random question, but what does like token do?
Never heard of that.
Then that's fine, dude. Carry on, Belle.
Bud Carter, what do you think of future algorithmic stablecoin experiments?
Ooh.
I mean, I think algorithmic is just a really shitty word. Like, you're either over collateralized and you have asset backing, or you're under collateralized. So I just kind of despise the word algorithmic as a whole. Any experiment where there's more liabilities than assets, if that's what we're calling algorithmic, then algorithmic stablecoins are guaranteed to fail into perpetuity. I think the days of under collateralized experiments are over. It just doesn't work.
Carry on, Belle.
All right. So, Microman, could governance react fast enough in a crisis? UST wiped me out in a couple of hours.
That's a good point. It's a really good point. Once again, it goes back to like the concept of UST had 18% collateral backing, right? Something like Silk right now. Dude. Yeah, it was terrible. That collateral backing was insane. Shade protocol right now, every Silk that exists, and people, you can put the quotations around this, you can laser in on it, but it's technically 225% assets backing Silk. So I think like while the Terra fear is a great example, it's like these models fundamentally have different levels of asset backing. But governance can move quick. There could be, now this is a trade-off. There could be a sub DAO where essentially governance votes in a group of people. Let's say it's 7 people, right? Governance literally can vote these specific wallet addresses, and that sub DAO could manage the Silk peg such that in the event of emergency, they could move rapidly, more rapidly than 2 weeks, in order to be able to shift the peg. But now you have a trade-off, because now you're favoring centralization in the name of trying to protect something in the case of a catastrophe. So the community ultimately is going to have to navigate some of these governance trade-offs. How agile do we want to be? The more agile the protocol is, probably the more centralized it's going to have to be, more trust given, like proof of authority. It's kind of dangerous. So we'll see what the community ultimately decides on that.
And I'm going to let you get back to that, Bell, but I'm going to weigh in on this. I'm a big fan of decentralization. Clearly, man. Look where all my money is, man. I'm a huge fan. But sometimes not everything has to be fully. Not everything has to go through a complete breakdown on this, man. There are some very, very obvious scenarios that action needs to be taken right this goddamn second. And I'll tell you flat out, brother, it's the only thing keeping me out of Silk is the fact that when shit goes south, over collateralization is a buzzword. Everybody uses it now. But when everything goes south, I need action taken right now because I got $2.5 million on the line, and I need action taken right this second. So as much as I favor decentralization, there are critical elements that could possibly happen that I need to bypass all that shit. All right. Look, sometimes it is so glaringly obvious the action that we have to take, and more than anyone else how fast crypto moves. So sometimes we can't wait 2 weeks. Now, I understand go ahead.
Oh, I have a good story for you, Scott, because this was something I believe you're impacted by. And this is an example of the protocol moving quick. It was centralized, but we did protect investors.
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, the Comdex stablecoin. Well, what's the name of that stablecoin again? I'm already blanking out on it.
CMST. Fuck you.
Yes.
CMST.
CMST. So when CMST, we sought DPEG, we immediately moved to make sure that no one could trade across that pool anymore. We chose to activate the liquidity provider protections. So the pool essentially was frozen. And so the liquidity providers in this event were essentially protected. Because usually what happens is, DPEG comes, someone's going to dump their CMST for the silk in the pool, liquidity provider comes back, and now they just lost everything. So we made a very conscious choice to protect the platform's liquidity providers over the random CMST token holders that were looking to exit. So,
and I lost so much money in CMST, man. I was one of the guys that was literally supporting this thing. I was like, hey, it's a neat idea, man. I didn't know about the error in their Oracle tracking. I didn't know you guys were like a single fucking Oracle. You were basically serving it up to get hacked to hell and gone, and it happened. And I think it's funny that they don't answer my emails anymore. Carter, they never get back to me. Do you want to make me whole, dude? Do you want to give me the money I lost on CMST? It wasn't on your Dex. It was over on Crescent. But I think somebody owes me some fucking money or some goddamn answer. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I actually know that I've crossed paths with the Comdex team many times at in-person events. So the next time I see them, I will press them for answers. Although I'm sure they've already been pressed 100 times over. But I'll come at it from a builder perspective and see what I can find out for you, Scott.
You guys fucked me. Give me back my money. All right. I don't care about anything else, man. Give me my money. You're hurting a lot more people than just me, man, because this is money that I'm not investing elsewhere. You fucking douchebags. Do it right. Anyway, carry on, Bell.
Jack Sparrow, how is it private if they're using AWS? Is it only for data relay or actual storage?
Told you, dude.
So this is a great question. So the viewing keys and the permits, all the things that can decrypt information is stored locally on your computer. So on the AWS side of things, it's mostly encrypted data being stored that then gets served up to a user and decrypted locally or acted upon locally with your private keys locally. So it's actually like there's like definitely like some macro metadata But it's not as if like it's just a bunch of plain text stuff being chucked around. The secret network's privacy, the encrypted promises still stand true. In an ideal world, once again, we get off AWS, but because of the locally stored primitives that allow you to decrypt and view your data locally, you're still very safe in terms of like those types of balances.
Carry on, Bill.
Last question coming from Into the Cosmos, directed to you, Scott. Is
Me?
Scott back into staking stuff on Osmo now? I remember he had 300K at one point staked.
No, at one point I had about $3.5 million staked. No, I don't believe in their model. And the same way that when I asked Carter, I'm putting Carter, say something so you take up the screen.
Hello.
There you go, man. That's perfect. For the same reason, when I asked Carter that very question, what do you think of the osmosis tokenomics model, how he looked down and to the left. Down and to the left means you're about to lie. Sorry, dude. I record everything like it's going out live, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're looking down to the left, meaning that I still
Down
want
to
to
the
do.
left is my polite answer. When I look up, it's what I'm actually thinking. A lie, I wouldn't even twitch. I would just look straight in the camera.
And just bullshit everybody. But when he's looking down and to the left, what he's saying is he wants to do business with these people because it's in his interest to do business with these people, but their model sucks. And that's it. That's kind of it right there. So for the same reason that I don't have millions of dollars LP'd on osmosis, I absolutely do not. And I have no intention of putting it there because I still don't believe in their model, man. Look, man, market sentiment's a funny thing. I've been doing this a long time, guys. All right, I've seen them come, I've seen them go. And when something actually take down, that's a funny thing, man. Look, here you go. Let's show everybody here. If I can get through this in my drunken state. And yeah, I'm a little bit lit. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. Let's take a look at osmosis over 180 days because crypto is one of those funny things, man, that we forget. All right, we forget that this shit ever existed, and whatever happened 3 months ago never happened. But less than that, this is where we at here, man. Look, 19 October. Guys, that was 3 months ago. 3 months ago, this token was sitting at 22.5 cents. I'm pulling Carter up because I want to see his expression when I'm talking about this. 22.5 cents. Nothing fundamentally changed about this in that, aside from the fact that they took away their blind incentives that they were throwing on everything like fucking Mars and Pika and all these silly ass tokens, that aside from the fact that they withdrew their incentivizations of those things, nothing really fundamentally changed about this. They got a new exchange listing. They hit Korea, and Korea are nothing. Man, these guys are degens, dude. They're my kind of people. We're going to pour into anything that's new and that's fresh. It's like it didn't exist until it hit their exchange. So nothing really fundamentally changed about this, but for some reason, the token price is at $1.62, and that all is well. All right, guys, all is not well. If all was well, I would have a hell of a lot more money in there, and I'd be providing liquidity, but I'm not. I'm providing liquidity on Astrovault. I'm providing liquidity on Shade. And if you at least have the least bit of respect for me whatsoever, you might want to look into the why. Now, the why is sitting right there. That's Carter. That's the why. Because I happen to agree with a lot of the things he's doing, but not all of the things. He hasn't convinced me yet. But look, guys, man, this is really where it comes down to for that. And Belle, for what it's worth, I'm shocked that those are the only questions. Did anybody?
We've got a massive one more from Jack Sparrow.
Did you guys just tune in?
I also have a Jackal question for Scott too at the end of the episode.
Hit me, dude. You know what? Let's go ahead and do you first, and then we'll do Belle. We're gonna do Belle. Yay!
Why in the world would I not right now go buy just petabytes of data from Jackal while it's this cheap?
Because
isn't that bad for the business model? Because it's just so lucrative, so cheap.
You need to buy these things right this second. I'm sure, Carter, I know you keep up on everything, and I'm sure you've looked at the new tokenomics, and you understand what's about to change, right? Carter, do you understand what's about to change?
I've read the white. I've read it. Yes. Do I
Okay.
understand it as intimately as you? No. So if you
No.
want to give me your version of the summary, I'd love to hear it.
That if you are going to go to a decentralized type of security storage, meaning that you're going to stop fucking using AWS, you need to buy right now. You need to buy years, and they'll sell it at a year at a time. You need to buy it right this second. Dude, a terabyte is $96 a year, and I think it's $90 if you buy it by the year. You need to hurry because it's all going to change here shortly, because Jackal is not only securing your data in one location, they're securing your data in 3 locations. And right now, you're getting it at $8 per terabyte. Once the new tokenomics go through, you're not getting it at $8 per terabyte. So make a good decision. Whether you use it or not, dude, it's not a lot of money, man. You need to dump this shit in there.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, man. Because here's another great use case for Jackal. So people don't know this, but like the archive nodes on these L1 blockchains, you have just thousands and millions of transactions that get built up over the course of years. And so the data for all these blockchains just continues to bloat and bloat and bloat.
Bloats.
So if you want to do any sort of transaction history or block explorer, it's going to become just exponentially more expensive as you use these centralized services. So someone like me, as a Shade Protocol person, I'm like, we can save costs for Shade Protocol development by just buying a crap ton of terabytes from the Jackal team. And actually I've pinged the Jackal team because we want to do some sort of collaboration around archive nodes. So that's a fun little alpha leak.
Yeah, and you guys need to, but you need to do it, dude. You need to hurry, man, because I do know the new tokenomics. I know them very, very intimately, and if you want it at $8 per terabyte, you better hurry. For interest. The same terabyte on Amazon Web Services, meaning offering the very, very same hot storage, which matters, and it matters incredibly. It's incredibly important for something like Shade Dex. It's going to cost you $162 per terabyte. It is what it is, man. Go to Greenspace, take a look, because they're using Amazon Web. But if you wanted to get it here, man, you got to buy it right now, dude. I don't care. It's a couple $100, dude. Do you need this? I will literally pay for it so you can unfuck your Dex and get it off from AWS, dude. I'm offering my own money to do this. You cool with it? Just give me a wallet address.
I own a shit ton of Jackal, so not a problem. I can handle it on my end.
All right, you need to buy it now. All right, Belle, you said there was one more question. We're all done talking. Go ahead, Belle, go.
Jack Sparrow, is there a public and private key?
Yes, there's public keys. That's always how it works. Public, private keys. Yep. You have your public address, and you have your private keys.
Okay. Belle, do we got anything else?
One more. Black Tornado, when do the tokenomics for Jackal go into effect?
These are coming out real quick, guys. You can take a look at them. You know what? We'll post them in the Discord. Go take a look at them, read them, vote them. Welcome to democracy. Anyway, guys, we ran a little bit long. I love talking to Carter, by the way. That Carter, he's one of the very, very few out here that will admit their flaws. And the fact that he said, yeah,
there are many flaws.
The fact that we're
arguably too many flaws to be investable, but here we are.
The fact that he says we're using Amazon, I'm like, oh God, dude. Don't say that. I almost hit the button, guys. I didn't do it, but I almost did. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the interview with Carter. A lot of good information put out here, man. It's important. We're an investment channel. Above and beyond everything else. As much as I appreciate the deep dives, I will leave those to Cosmos DeFi. I'll leave those to Joe. I'll leave those to Tank. Let them go ahead and swim in those waters, man. I like to swim in the waters of this is how you make money. This is where I like to be. So I appreciate the questions. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We absolutely love to do this, man. We want to keep doing it just forever. We have such a good time. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Carter. I'm giving you 30 seconds, dude. You sum it up, and then we're giving it to Belle. She's going to talk us up, talk us out. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm a little bit lit. Go ahead, Carter. Talk it up, man. 30 seconds. Go. That's all you get, man. 30 seconds.
The long-term vision for Shade Protocol is that it's all about your money, your data, your decisions, right? Crypto is all about sovereignty and the permissionless ability to financially express yourself, to hold your money, to use it how you want, and to do it safely. If any of that resonates with you, please, please, please join our community. It's been a long 2-year journey, and to be honest, the next 2 years is probably going to be equally, if not more difficult than that, but we appreciate every single one of you that takes the time out of your day to interact with the team and ultimately make a better product for you
All right.
yourselves, ultimately. Yeah.
All right, Belle, get us out of here.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who joined us this evening while we had Carter on, we cannot say thank you guys enough. Keep in mind that this was actually about you guys and you guys being able to ask questions. Again, we cannot stress the importance of you guys sending those comments and questions our way, and they are appreciated. We are going to be back on Saturday at our normal time of 6 p.m. Central Standard. In between now and Saturday, if you guys have any more comments, questions, or concerns, definitely don't hesitate to send those over to Scott or myself, Scott at ThePodocasts.com or Bella at ThePodocasts.com, and we'll get those answered for you. We cannot thank you guys enough. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you on Saturday.
We are dropping new videos and podcasts every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And be sure to look for us on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at ThePodocasts. Also, visit our page at ThePodocasts.com, all one word, for all of our most current content.